Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
This episode is brought to you by Stouffer's. Here comes three-time juggling champion Natalia Rogers. She's juggling law school, her TA job. Oh, narrowly catches the laundry. What's that fourth ball? Parents unexpectedly showed up at dinner time? Is that too much for Natalia? Not with Stouffer's Chicken Alfredo and its mouth-watering mix of Asiago, Romano, and Parmesan. When you're juggling four things at once and the clock strikes dinner, think Stouffer's.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right. Big news here. Big news. In 1999, Bill Clinton, President of the United States, was caught looking at a girl, looking at a woman. A woman, an adult. I shouldn't say girl. This is an adult. Megyn Kelly shares decades-old photo of Bill Clinton allegedly ogling her young friend hours before Epstein testimony. This is where, again, I think it's gotten a little bit out of hand. All right? Sorry, 20-something women. You're at your peak of attractiveness, and that will sometimes be noticed, whether it's the President of the United States or the conductor on the Long Island Railroad, or me. These are things that are just designed into our systems. It's just the way the world keeps moving, right? Can't help it. Especially this young girl here doesn't appear to be wearing a bra. Oh, Megyn. I love Megyn, but let me see here. The former Fox News anchor flashed up the image of Clinton from 1999. Now, 1999. Megyn, I think, was born in 1971. So how old does that make her? 1999. Wait. How old does that make her? 29, 28, 20, late 20s. When he was still president, telling viewers that it showed him ogling her friend at the Bombay Club in Washington, D.C., soon after he was impeached over the Monica Lewinsky sex scandal. I'm not saying this is a crime, she stressed on her Megyn Kelly show Thursday, claiming it instead showed Clinton had not changed even after getting impeached. Bill was not shamed at all after the Monica Lewinsky scandal, out of his hound dog behavior, to put it mildly. Yes, he is looking down the chest of my friend, Meg Florence, and that's my other friend in the foreground, Abby Rittman. He's basically got his hand on her side boob. Yikes. I don't like that terminology. Kelly claimed Clinton brazenly posed for the photo in the middle of the restaurant while his wife Hillary and their daughter Chelsea were in tow. I'm just saying he was not chastised at all as a result of Lewinsky. Well, yes, he was. She claimed, stressing that she was not suggesting anything criminal. The image surfaced just as Clinton is expected to give a deposition today before the House Oversight Committee over his history with Epstein and the late pedophile's madam, Ghislaine Maxwell. That's how the Post wrote it. Bill Clinton has previously admitted having a friendship with Epstein in the late 90s and early 2000s, but he was not and has not been accused of any wrongdoing. The former president flew on Epstein's private jet dozens of times and has been pictured in the notorious Epstein files, but denies visiting the convicted sex offender. I'm looking at this picture. And you know what I feel? I don't feel outrage. Excuse me. I feel a little bit of empathy. Meg Florence is not wearing a bra. Bill Clinton is 6'3" tall, right? So he's got a view, and it's the kind of thing you look at. Abby Rittman looks very spiffy. Look in the other direction. You can't tell what is that on. Have you guys seen this picture, Carlos? Have you guys seen this? What do you expect a girl to do? I mean, she's dressed provocatively. It's in a club. And I heard the craziest rumor once, crazy rumor, that young women are attracted to powerful men, whether they're young, old, right? And it helps when they're tall and rich. Bill Clinton wasn't technically rich at the time, but he was poised to make a lot of money. Let's just not overlook that there are a lot of women who are throwing themselves at Bill Clinton, right? Even with 20/20 hindsight, I saw nothing that ever gave me pause. We are only here because he hid it from everyone for so long. And by the time it came to light with his 2008 guilty plea, I had long stopped associating with him. It's a statement from Bill Clinton. And it's a reasonable statement. It is a reasonable statement. There is a lot of crazy hyperbole about that thing. I personally, you know what I believe here? That one of the reasons why child sex, pedophilia crap, right? Horrible, wherever it's happening, it must be stopped. However, some people kind of fall in love with the idea that they're going to rescue kids, that they're doing this for the kids, because it gives them a little bit of latitude in their own personal lives or professional lives to cut corners, right, and to do things that aren't right, but they aren't as bad as child sexploitation. Does that make sense? I know it happens. Human psychology is very wild, right? Well, I'm not a monster like those guys. I can have an extramarital affair. I can look at, I can do this, I can do that. But I don't do anything with children. Those people are monsters, which they are, but their monstrous behavior should not entitle you to cut a corner, and I know that is happening. So that's why people fall in love with this, what's that word they love so much? Narrative, that there is this vast pedophile ring. There's not, and there hasn't been. And no matter who I talk to about these Epstein files, another guy said, "No, are you kidding me? It's all over the Epstein files." Like what? Well, Bill Gates was taking penicillin after he was with a prostitute in Russia. Yeah, it doesn't say anything in there about the prostitute being underage. Well, what about Larry Summers? I mean, he's the president of Harvard. And, well, he's talking to Jeffrey Epstein. And there's not a law against that. There's just not. It's just not. I mean, do we want to put sex offenders on islands by themselves forever? Maybe we should look into that. He was a sex offender. That's a real penalty. But people are being penalized who had nothing to do with him. Nothing to do with the sex offense. It was very interesting to hear President Trump say, "I don't want people to get hurt. I don't want people to get hurt by those files." And innocent people are getting hurt. I tell you what, I don't think it's going to happen. But I've heard from some Republicans even that Howard Lutnick is a dead man walking, and he's going to lose the whole kit and caboodle, right? He's going to lose the Commerce Secretary job. He's probably going to lose his job at Cantor Fitzgerald. He won't be able to go back because he had lunch with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't think that's right. I'm not cool. I'm not cool with that. Let me see this. What do we got here? What is this? I see a picture of Jeffrey Epstein and Hillary and Bill. This is a fake picture, everybody. This is a fake picture. Jeffrey Epstein has his hand to his throat, and Hillary is pulling a tie. That is a fake picture. All right, look, I'm all about this. All right, show me the evidence, but nobody has any evidence. I do have evidence, though, that we are about to do something really big in Iraq. Listen to this, if you don't mind. A little of this is true, a little of this is fake. Cut 3, if you don't mind. Cut 3.
When we move all of our military assets, and they're no longer docked, they're now at sea, build it up in a way that we have not seen in that region since the Iraq War.
We've got what the president likes to refer to as an armada, maybe the biggest military gathering in the Middle East since 2003.
You haven't seen this accumulation of firepower since 2003, which you'll remember was the beginning of the Iraq War.
So it's not totally true that this is the biggest armada we've ever had on that scene since 2003. There have been many times that we've had 2 aircraft carrier groups in the Persian Gulf. We've been doing a lot of things out of the Persian Gulf for a long time. This is a little bit of a fake out, a little bit of, an information campaign. Let's see if we can fake them out with a little bit of misinformation. Hey, do me a favor. I never heard of this lady. Her name is Charlotte Iserbyt. And she's a scholar. And, well, she made some startling observations and found some incredibly incriminating books from the Rockefellers a long time ago. This is all the way back in 1977, I believe. Her name is Charlotte Iserbyt. The fake news is trying to embarrass her. Listen to this, please. I think there's a lot of truth here about how we got to the point that we now have full-grown adults who say drag time story hour with children is a beautiful, wholesome event that must be protected. Cut 15.
Okay. You're saying they're brainwashing. Okay, you're saying these people that are experts in brainwashing is using the Department of Education to brainwash our children.
Yes.
What are they after? Why are they doing it?
Well, if you want to move a country from a free individualistic economy,
which we have.
Yes, or had.
Or had, okay.
To a planned economy, you have to do it through the schools. You have to dumb down and brainwash, change the attitudes and values. You have to completely, social engineering has to go on constantly. And many teachers know what I'm talking about. And people are going to say, well, when did this start? And who on earth ever did this? Why would a plan like that be allowed to be carried out?
That's right.
Well, then you have to go back to 1934, which I will do, and we have to go to the three-pronged fork, okay? So I do think that the watershed year, although you can go back to the early part of the century when the Rockefeller Foundation and the Carnegie Corporation were deeply involved in education, and that it was decided then that Carnegie would deal with the international part and Rockefeller domestic. They commissioned the American Historical Association to put together a study of the social studies, and they came up with lots of volumes, but I have one little volume, Conclusions and Recommendations for the Social Studies. And basically that little one is an original book. I wish I'd brought it with me. Too bad. But I don't even dare let it out of the house. It's so important. It called for changing the United States through the schools from a free individualistic economy to a socialist, collectivized, planned economy in the New World Order.
It says that in the book?
Yes.
And that book was written when?
In 1934.
By who?
It was the Carnegie Corporation paid for it. The American Historical Association put it together. And
can people get that book in the library?
No, they can't. They were very instrumental in getting the Elementary and Secondary Education Act passed, which, as I said before, changed education from knowledge, content-based, academic, to performance-based behavior. And from that time on, because that was necessary for what we're looking at now with school to work agenda is the planned economy is performance-based.
So they're training workers.
They're training
not thinkers, not leaders.
Exactly. At that time, you had a general, Buck Chisholm, a Canadian general psychiatrist, who was a very close friend of Alger Hiss's. And he gave a speech in 1945 to the World Health Organization, which basically recommended getting rid of the conscience.
Wow.
Yes. And he said we would do it through the schools. We would retrain the teachers to be little psychiatrists. He said it is an international system they're looking at. They're going to change the behavior of the children. They're going to change the teachers' training. They're going to do everything. He told them everything.
And they didn't believe him?
No, they just, well, you know what goes on.
I know what goes on, too. And come to think of it, when I was in school, we did have social studies. Social studies. We didn't have civics. In the 50s and 60s, it was civics. In the 70s and 80s, it became social studies. Why is that? Also, why as a man, as a boy at the time, did I have to take home economics? Home economics? That's not a classic syllabus. That's not a classic thing. Why that? You know what I learned in home economics? I'm not saying I didn't enjoy a little bit of it. We learned how to do a hook rug. Anybody remember the hook rug? We learned how to sew. I remember how to learn a Singer sewing machine and the thread and spooling it, and I actually made something like that. Granted, it was militaristic. You could design your own handkerchief. I put a fighter jet on a handkerchief. But I did it myself. It was actually kind of cool learning how to do that. What else are we doing home ec? Stuff like that. But somebody else recently told me that a part of the move towards socialism rather, is feminization. Feminize people, feminize men. I'm looking at a dude on TV right now who has, that looks like a girl with a beard. Look at the advertisements in the New York Times Magazine. Not that we read that thing anymore. But when I was growing up, the women in that thing were hot, right? Remember the lingerie ads? Remember, what was that company called? La Perla? Beautiful women. I saw it a couple of months ago. I don't read it, but I happened to saw one in somebody's house. I opened it up. Everyone is, what's the word? Androgynous. You can't tell boy or girl. They're also wearing clothes that you would never, I don't know who the hell reads this thing and says, I want that. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Mitch McConnell doesn't think that you need to prove your citizenship in America. He's screwing around again. Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky. He's no longer the majority leader, but he still has juice in the U.S. Senate, and he's playing games. The SAVE Act. All that says is you got to show that you're a citizen before you can register to vote. Pretty reasonable. Here he is being confronted by a reporter. He won't say a damn thing, and people are wondering maybe he can't because he's had a couple of strokes and whatnot, health episodes. Do me a favor. Let's see how this goes down.
McConnell, can you give us some information on why you blocked the SAVE Act, or any information on your thoughts on what Rep. Tim Burchett said about staffers running your office? Any comments, sir?
Nope, none. He just has that weird face. Just that weird face, and nothing changes. Just he's being that man. We don't even know if he's conscious. By the way, the snow shovel handout routine, come on down and show up, bring paperwork, and start snuffling show. It's a total disaster. Those who actually did show up, there are all kinds of viral videos where they have 17 guys working on one little pile of snow. Another one, 24 people are observed on one corner, hanging around. Some of them are getting paid. It was $19. Now it's gone up to $35 to $40, and they still have them out there removing snow. When the government does something, 9 times out of 10, they screw it up. There are certain things they do very, very well. It does very, very well. Military, space, interstate highway system. But the rest, please stay the hell out of it.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Oh man, we got Steve Moore, the great economist, Trump advisor, taking America back to prosperity. Oh, Steve, so good to have you. How are you? What a week.
It sure has been, Greg. I'm doing well. More importantly, the country is doing well. We've seen just fabulous economic improvements since Trump came in. And, the average family has about $3,000 more after tax, after inflation dollars in their paychecks. We're seeing gas prices now down below $3 a gallon. We hit down 50,000. So people with 401k plans for the average plan has gained about $22,000 in this last year. I could go on, but Trump was right that this country is back. And, I wrote a book, Greg, at the beginning of the year with Arthur Lapper called The Trump Economic Miracle. And we expected a miracle. We just didn't think it would happen so quickly.
Well, it's going to take a lot of propaganda, and it's unleashed to dispel the truth that you just summarized, and they're really at it hard. But the American people, they're going to feel this stuff. You can't camouflage this, or can you?
Well, look, I mean, there's so many areas where the economy has improved, and look, the problem for Republicans right now and Trump is that there is a gap, what I call a gap between perception and reality. So the perception is Americans still think the economy is in a ditch because it was in a ditch for so long under Biden, and the reality is we're doing a lot to get us out of that ditch in a quick way. And so I believe that as month by month go by, more and more people will see firsthand the benefits. So, look, people are angry, Greg, including my wife, about grocery prices. They're just too expensive for groceries. But, what Trump said, which was correct, is, wait, I didn't do that. Joe Biden did. 85% increase in these costs happened under Biden. And so we're still living under the residual effects. Remember when the inflation ran up to 9.2% under Biden? It takes a long time to heal from that.
There's one of these guys, these AI guys, the one who invented Claude. I don't know his name. He looks, quite frankly, a little bit unstable and weird, but a lot of geniuses are. He says that AI, like, okay, we're here. There's singularity, in a year, like any moment now, it's going to just totally rip up and blow up society. And we're going to see an unemployment surge 10%, 20%. And like the AI revolution is kind of like any moment now, everybody will see it. We're not there yet. Are you worried about that? I mean, they're very convinced, and theoretically, intellectually, it does kind of make sense. What's going to happen here?
Oh, it's going to come much faster than people think. There's no doubt about it. It's one of the most exciting revolutions in world history that we're right on the cusp of. I mean, we're literally in the next, 5 years going to see, give sight to the blind. People in wheelchairs will rise out of their wheelchairs and be able to walk. We're going to see incredible improvement. I'm on the board of a company. We build houses with robots. So we'll be able to build houses at half the cost. So, in 10 years, everybody will be able to afford to live in a castle. I mean, the wealth-enhancing effects of this are going to be just amazing. Now, is that going to cause some displacement? Sure. I mean, the internet did. So did the Industrial Revolution. So did the farm tractor. It used to be 30 out of 100 Americans worked on farms. Now 2 out of Americans work in farms, and we produce 100 times more food. So this is an exciting thing, but you're right. People, I'll give you one example. There are 2 million Americans who drive trucks today. In 5 to 10 years, they'll be close to zero. Those jobs will all be done by robots and by automation, but that frees up people to do other work, and I think it'll be good for humanity.
Give me that number that's interesting. Farms. How many people were farmers, and what is it today?
Yeah, so if you go back to around 1900, and don't quote me exactly, but it was roughly 30 out of every 100 Americans were picking fruits and vegetables and working on the farms before the era of tractors, before the era of modern irrigation and so on. Now, today, we produce 100 times more food with 2 out of 100 because so much of it has been automated. And that's what we're going to see with all types of improvements in, as I said, construction, transportation. Incidentally, within probably 10 years, everyone's going to have a robot that's going to do everything for them. It's really pretty cool to think of how this is going to change. Well, how long do you think it'll be before we have flying cars? Maybe 15 years? So the world's going to change in a dramatic direction.
Oh, boy. All right.
You don't sound convinced.
No, I'm a little bit uneasy about some of this stuff. I mean, look, the guy who invented the company is like, and what's his name? Yeah. Musk. Musk said, everybody will own a robot. You won't even need money. He's actually saying you shouldn't even, if you save for retirement now, you're a schmuck because everybody's going to have a robot that can do everything for them. Starbucks coffee, you won't need money for it. He'll make you better coffee at home. You won't have to, do much of it. You won't need money because the robot's going to take care of everything.
Well, it's somewhat scary, but it's also an incredible opportunity. You and I are probably not going to live to see all the amazing revolutions that's coming over the next 30 years. Well, you're a little younger than I am, but I'm a little jealous. But look at how the internet changed the way we work and play and do everything. It's been amazing, and I don't know how you hold back the future. That's the question.
All right, so let me ask you this: the takeover of, I guess it's, what do they want to take over? Warner Brothers and Netflix were both vying, to win out.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Netflix and Paramount were both trying to take over Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers, yep.
Netflix is ruled out. Essentially, they have taken themselves out, and Trump didn't want that to happen. Before you go, why is it that companies want to buy other companies? Like the Nabisco thing from the 1980s. I never understood that. Like Nabisco merges with Quaker. I mean, what do I care? I've always kind of been stung by that. Why do these companies want to merge, and why do they want to buy each other?
Because you get economies of scale, and so you get efficiencies from mergers. But look, I'm on the board of two companies that are in good kind of middle of stage of development, and I invested in it, and everybody invested in it because we want somebody to buy us, and we want to make a lot of money. That's called capitalism. So when people ask me, well, who should decide about whether Paramount should be able to buy Warner Brothers, the answer is, well, of course, the answer is the people who own the company. The shareholders should decide. They own it. It's theirs. If we believe in private property rights, the people own it. So I'm very much against the government sticking their nose in this. Why should the government tell one company they can't buy another one? I mean, there are incredible efficiencies in these. And what really launches the American entrepreneurial spirit, you start a company and hope, in 10 years, somebody will buy you for $10 million.
All right. Well, then capitalism. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Sometimes I don't understand it. Those corporate raiders and all the stuff they do. Committee to unleash what?
Well, you call them raiders, but look, nobody's putting a gun to the people's head who own the companies to say you have to do this. And so, guess what? As soon as I get my money from the investment in this one, I'm going to invest my money in another new company.
No, it's good. It's good. What happens then? No, it is. I mean, I get it. I just don't get it. But what happens when Warner Brothers is taken over by Paramount? What does that mean? To us? Well,
Greg, let me just say something about that. You're in the entertainment business. To some extent, I'm in the entertainment business. The one area of the economy where there is no monopoly is entertainment. I turn on my TV. I can watch 150 stations. I can listen to 100 different radio stations. You and I are old enough to remember you turned on the TV, you could watch NBC, CBS, or ABC, and that was it, remember? And now you have hundreds and hundreds of choices. You've got thousands and thousands of media companies. I don't think we have to worry about monopolistic pressure in the entertainment business.
All right. Well, I like that. Committee to Unleash Prosperity. You go to that. By the way, you guys do more than just economy. You talk about cultural things. You talk about the hockey team, stuff like that. It's interesting. And what do you make of these hockey guys? I mean, what's not to love? I almost don't understand. There's like controversy around them. Because liberals are upset that they're so popular or something. What's the problem?
Well, it turns out hockey players tend to be the most pro-America athletes that we have. So first of all, I just salute them. I mean, their performance, both the men and women, I mean, I'm just so proud of their performance against, pretty damn good Canadian teams, let's face it. And so, it's such a great red, white, and blue moment. And the media was criticizing these hockey players for going to see the president. I mean, do they really hate Trump that much that they can't even celebrate a red letter day for this great country of ours? Where's their patriotism?
Yeah, no, it's a bizarre time. But I'm also a little bit concerned.
I think these guys are so anti-American. They probably wanted the Americans to lose. That's how bad they are.
Well, one of the things is, I didn't even know they were playing. I mean, let's face it, in 1980, the whole country was on the edge of their seat. We knew all about this. It was a big, big, big thing. I didn't find out these guys won the gold until they won the gold. I
watched the game. I watched the semifinals and finals. It was amazing. And I'll tell you one quick story on the way out. I was on a JetBlue plane flying back from Florida to D.C. in the middle of the afternoon last Thursday. And, JetBlue has the little TV set. So I turn it on, and there's the women's gold medal game, and they're playing the Canadians, and I'm watching it. And then right before the flight landed, the American women scored that winning goal, and the whole plane just erupted in applause. It was such a great moment.
Oh, that is nice. That is nice. I love moments that bring people together, and we need more of those. Well, anyway, everybody should check out the Committee to Unleash Prosperity. Go to committeetounleashprosperity.com. Steve Forbes, Art Laffer, all of our favorites, and especially Steve Moore, the chairman and co-founder of Unleash Prosperity, Club for Growth founder, Wall Street Journal writer, former Heritage Foundation economist. He's all over the place, and he's definitely in President Trump's ear. Steve Moore, we thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. Have a great day.
All right. You are the best. 800-8489-222, 800-848-9222. And I do want to remind everybody that this flu season is the worst we've seen in 25 years. And either way, you know how this goes. Every year, someone in my family gets sick, then everyone gets sick. And suddenly you're fighting to see a doctor or stuck waiting in a crowded urgent care. But not this year. I am ready. I ordered a medical emergency kit, and it's been a lifesaver. My kit is stocked with essential prescription medications, antibiotics like a generic Z-Pack to help you recover faster, amoxicillin for pneumonia, strep throat, prescriptions for nausea, UTIs, and they have ivermectin in there. It is simple. Match your symptoms to the guidebook or call the telemedicine doctor standing by. Start treatment early, feel better faster, no waiting room lines, no pharmacy lines. I love my medical emergency kit. You should get one too. I got you $45 off when you use my code Greg. Just go to urgentcarekit.com/Greg. That's urgentcarekit.com/Greg. Promo code Greg.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I knew it. President Trump, just a little while ago, is actually not happy that Bill Clinton is being deposed. And the same goes for Hillary Clinton. It's very interesting indeed here. He knows what this is all about. Nobody understands the situation, I think, better than him. And he was on his way to the helicopter, and they asked him, okay, Bill Clinton is being deposed by the House Oversight Committee right now on the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. And listen carefully. There's a damn motor is running in the background, but you'll hear what he says, and he doesn't like it. Go ahead.
I don't like seeing him deposed, but, they certainly went after me a lot more than that. I don't like seeing him. Look, I like him, and I don't like seeing him deposed.
I like him, and I don't like seeing him deposed because it's look, it's a fun story, right? People, oh my gosh, it's fascinating talking about the Clintons and sex and all that stuff. But it's kind of a fake issue, in my opinion, and it takes the eye off of Congress. Congress should be focusing on more prosaic, fundamental, ordinary issues. And this is a distraction. We were hit on 9/11. We were hit on 9/11 in part because Congress was distracted and doing all kinds of crazy stuff instead of the basics. Yes, Tony. Hello,
Greg. Are you aware right now that they're calling the people out of the embassy in Israel and everything's gearing up to get Iran bombed?
Yeah, I did see that. Huckabee told his employees at the U.S. embassy in Israel, if you want to go home, you can. Now that's different from their taking all personnel, non-essential personnel out. They're making it an option and I think that's because we may not necessarily bomb Iran after all. This is still up in the air, more so than I thought yesterday. Yesterday I thought we're going to be bombing by tonight. I'm not so sure anymore. I hope it gets negotiated, to be honest. I don't want to do this, but President Trump will make the right decision. Yeah. Anything else, Tony?
Well, no, that all those ships are in place right now. And
don't. That's a little bit of misinformation. Okay, it's the Navy. We always have ships over there. We always have ships, and they're saying, well, this is the first time we've had 2 aircraft carriers in the Persian Gulf since 2003. That's not true. That is not true. There have been plenty of times where we've had 2 or 3 aircraft carriers around there, so we don't have to worry about it too much. I mean, it's worrisome. It could happen. And I know President Trump will make the right decision. All right?
Right. Well, and Iran keeps moving the line like they always have.
Don't. I mean, look, do you really want to bomb them right now?
I want Iran to be stopped.
Well, so do I, but it's not, it's just, and you can only do so much with airstrikes. People who have not been in the military think the military can do anything, and they can't, and they make major mistakes. And sometimes the biggest military in the world can't defeat the smallest military in the world. Now, I'm not saying that's the case with Iran, but we can bomb them till kingdom come. That doesn't mean we can actually achieve our objectives militarily. Tony, I gave you some things to ponder. I hope you do. Tom in Pennsylvania, hello.
Hey, Greg, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, I was going to talk about something else, but when you talked about the Iranian thing, all that bombing won't do any good if the population doesn't have weapons to fight back with. If we haven't been supplying them by the CIA, what are they going to do? They're going to get slaughtered
I don't want to. No, we're not playing that game. Arm the resistance like we did in El Salvador and all that stuff. That ain't going to work. It's up to the Iranians, all right? We can't prop them up. But what was the other thing you were going to call about?
I was going to call about the Kennedy assassination. I read a book, High Treason, and in that book, John Dulles was fired by Kennedy because he found that he was involved in killing Allende with a secret section of the CIA, and that's why he was fired. And then he's on the Warren Commission. Do you think he might have intimidated a few people on the Warren Commission?
Well, hold on a second. Allende, I believe, was killed much later. He wasn't killed when Kennedy was around, right? Allende, well, let me see here. Allende, Chile. I thought that happened much later. Hold on a second. Let me see this. Yeah, he died in 1973. All right, that's 10 years after Kennedy was killed. Does that kind of throw a monkey wrench in your little thing there?
Well, yeah.
It does. Well, in the book. It's in the book. But Allende, no, you're saying, no, that all happened later. The Warren Commission, man, you know what? People have got to get better at undermining the Warren Commission. The Warren Commission is actually pretty solid in many ways. It's very solid. You got to really know your stuff when you try to take on the Warren Commission and take away. Now, it's missing a lot. Stuff is missing. But it's a very solid. I don't believe Oswald did it by himself. It was a conspiracy, just like the House Commission in 1978 ruled or determined, although they were screwed up in a lot of ways. Hey, do me a favor. Can we go to Fox News real quick? The Democrats are speaking about, well, what the hell? It doesn't matter what they say, but they just answered a bunch of questions. Clinton did in that hearing. These guys are going to back them up. But you heard what President Trump said. All right, as we get that underway, Vinny, hello? Yeah.
Great.
Yo.
I want to talk to you about, because a lot of people are informed about, because the prices, especially in the produce business. I have a produce company. And they're wondering why is everything, the price is so high. And people, they just don't understand how it works.
How does it work? Real quick.
Yeah. I'm saying that people don't understand how it is. When the country is under ice, the whole country is below zero.
I think we understand that. That's why orange juice goes up in price. Not that we drink much orange juice anymore. All right, Vinny, thank you. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially healthcare. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.